Hello, friends. Welcome. June 4th, 2023, Virtual Strangers, episode 189 is live. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend, Ruuts. We did it, brother. We're live.
We did it. Wolvie understands. He says he'd be worried if we were on time. That's just the way it is. And I'm a little louder, I think. Let me know if I'm too loud. Somebody in the Discord said that, hey, Ruuts, your audio on my end is always very low. It's not Sherbrando, actually, not just somebody. I have to crank it up to 50 to hear it. So I turned it up a little bit, West. Hopefully it's not like blaring loud. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We do what we have to do so that these old people can hear us, especially when they're up late past their bedtime, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's a late show. People in the thing are asking if this is the normal time. Pretty sure this is not the normal time. This is the Wes and Ruuts both had all sorts of stuff going on, and that's about the time it ends up. But we'd rather come with the goods at the right time instead of force it, right?
So for what it's worth, I've been in this chair preparing literally all day. As many of you know, I got back from California yesterday and had 3 delays, Ruuts. 3 delays.
Oh man.
I had been awake for about like 30 hours.
Oh,
save a couple of times that I nodded off on the plane ride. But I crashed out pretty hard yesterday when I got home.
Yeah, we tried to keep you awake for a little bit when we were playing Diablo 4. You jumped in the Discord from Vegas, right? And you sounded really tired, and man, I don't know how you can do it. That's crazy. It's one of the reasons why flying has became such a joy. For that reason, right? You can't count on your flight. You can't get a direct flight, and then your connecting flight might be delayed. It's always fun.
Yeah. Well, I have my flight out of Oakland was delayed by like an hour. So I already have a 4-hour layover scheduled for Vegas. So I'm like, all right, fine. It'll be 3 hours instead of 4 hours. So when I get to Vegas, that flight had been delayed by an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the plane was all in the hangar and ready to go, the crew had not yet arrived, and the crew was an hour late.
Oh.
So we had to wait on them to get on the plane and do all the safety checks. And I'm sitting here wondering, like, man, I hope they really do the safety checks and they're not rushing through it because everyone here is ready to go. But I finally I got back to Louisville, Kentucky at about 8 a.m. Yesterday morning, and then had to drive home a couple hours. And yeah, I crashed out and then got up today and got straight to work. As we mentioned at the end of last week's show, we're doing our first ever paid advertisement on today's episode, and I didn't get a chance to start on it until today. Everyone else that did one of these ads got pushed to launch them over the weekend. So I'm sure we're not going to be breaking any kind of news with what we're advertising here today, but I think we might have a bit of a different take on it. Ruuts, what do you think?
I think so. I think we have a little bit of a different take, and I think it's entertaining. So that's all that matters.
Anyway, we'll get to that in a few minutes. Man, what a difference a week makes. We were here last Sunday, everybody down, kind of bummed out because, we got no big AAA announcements from Sony, and we were wondering where all the games are at. Apparently, Meta's been hoarding all of them, Ruuts.
Oh, Meta, those jerks, what the hell were they doing?
Well, they're preparing to promote their headset. Imagine that. They have a new headset coming out, Ruuts, and they're actually going to support it with games.
Oh, wow. So they actually talked about a headset. I guess I wish we could have predicted that. Although we did predict that, although it wasn't.
Yeah, it was actually, it was pretty amazing. Yeah. And you're right. The writing had been on the wall for a few weeks. We kind of knew that this was coming. $500, Ruuts, for roughly twice the graphical processing power, pancake lenses, significant bump in resolution, high resolution color pass through with mixed reality experiences. That's a pretty good package, I think, for a $500 price tag.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone was worried it was going to be too expensive. I actually thought it was going to be $600. not only is 5
Well, it will
reasonable
be.
for what you get, but the fact that they're lowering the price on the 2 makes a big difference too, right? Although it's kind of going close to what it was before. Man, the price is going up, down, but I was glad that they already said that it's going down. So
You know who else is always going up, down, and up, down, Roots?
My mom!
oh yeah, it's mostly down, but she does go up as well. This is the thing. I was telling D actually, I'm thinking about selling my Quest 2, and maybe now's a little bit too early, but you want to get it in there now before the price is not as worth as much, right? So
But here's the thing. This is a very different situation than when we were moving from Quest 1 to Quest 2. Um, when Quest 2 launched, Quest 1s were still in short supply. There weren't very many of them out there. There wasn't a whole lot of awareness with the general public about the headsets and what they're worth. So there was a lot better of a market at that point. Right now, or even, I haven't checked it since I've gotten back, but I looked 2 weeks ago on Facebook Marketplace to see what's there. There are Quest 2s all over the Facebook Marketplace for about $200, and that was before the price dropped. So I don't know. I don't know if it would be worth it to sell.
Did the price
Quest
actually
2, but
drop now, or is it only when the new ones
this
come
week.
out? Okay.
No, it's dropping this week. On top of the price drop,
It dropped today,
it's also
Blue Bell
getting.
says.
Yeah, there you go. On top of that price drop, they also announced that it's getting a pretty significant bump in optimization. So it's going to have about 20% more power for rendering than it had a month ago.
Mm.
And on top of that, they're enabling dynamic resolution scaling. And basically what that does is it allows the games to change the graphical settings on the fly depending upon the load. And what it means to you and me is consistent, smooth frame rates. So it should be able to stick to 90 hertz even in very demanding games based on this new feature getting enabled. So not only is it a much more affordable headset this week, but with the next update, it'll be a much smoother running headset as well.
How amazing is it? They could just put out an update and 20% more power. Like, you couldn't have done that a month ago, 2 months ago.
Well,
I guess at some point you got to do it, but it's like they just flip a switch and give you 20% more. That's crazy.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, they've done this a few times. I remember when the Space Warp update came out, they were claiming 70% increase when that happened. So this is how these games keep coming out, games like Red Matter 2, and you say, how are they doing this on standalone? This is how they're doing it through these types of optimizations.
Yeah. So what do you think the controllers, everyone's worried about the controllers, that they're not going to track well or something?
I don't think that they'll be terrible. I think that there is at least some possibility that they end up being having a little bit less tracking area. I think that they'll be better when your hands are in front of you. I think that using their AI algorithms, that they're going to be able to solve for occlusion and the kind of stuff you get on WMR when you occlude the controllers, and even PlayStation VR 2 to some extent. I think that Meta is going to solve that through AI. I don't know how it's going to work out when you put your hands over your head and keep them there for a few seconds. Which, I mean, to be fair, you don't do that a whole lot, but
all the time.
Some people aren't going to like it. Some people are not going to like it.
Well, this is the thing, and we have to be real. It doesn't matter which headset I've ever used. I've never had perfect tracking to where when I put my hands up like this to aim down a sight, that there's not at some point some weirdness. That's every headset. I to the point that if these controllers are even better than what they are now, but still have that issue, I might buy the Pro controllers, because I want what everybody's describing. Even yesterday, Mash was saying how amazing they are. Was it Mash or I think it was Mash? But anyway, or Skiva or somebody. But they were just saying how amazing the Pro is controllers are, and I if they were a little bit cheaper, maybe $200, I'd already have them. So
this is what I meant earlier when you said that it's a good package for 500. In all honesty, that's the 128 gigabyte version. The larger, the version with more storage is going to be $600, and it's coming with a cloth strap. So we're all going to have to get new Bobo straps to put on it. That's gonna bring it up to 670, and then get those Pro controllers on top of that. That's going to bring us up to about 970. So it's going to be $1,000 all in if you want it to be the best that it can be.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. The headset's $600. I didn't know that amount. Anybody buying, I said this when people said the 64 was enough. I'm saying this now because I said it then. 64 wasn't enough. 128's almost not enough. It is enough, but it's almost not enough. And I'm gonna hear people bitching a year from now. They're like, "Oh man, I don't have enough space." Just spend the extra 100, unless it's like the barrier that keeps you from getting the Quest 3. Then obviously, get what you have to get. But if you have the money, why would you not double the space for $100, right? Shame on Meta too for not having a fucking expandable.
Yeah, for real.
It's just stupid, man.
For what it's worth, I think there's a possibility that maybe the old straps will work on it. They look very similar on this one. So I mean, there's a small possibility. I doubt it, but there's a small possibility we can use our old strap. But think about this with the 128 gigabytes, right? Asgard's Wrath 2 is reportedly bigger, not in terms of data necessarily, but a bigger game than Asgard's Wrath 1, which came in at well over 100 gigabytes. So, yeah, I think if you go with that option, that you might have one game at a time on your Quest.
It's just ridiculous, man. Like I said, shame on them. Like Sony, okay, it was what, 700, you got 700 megabytes or gigabytes. But you could expand it.
Nine.
Well, after the operating system, you had like something
oh, right.
to use. But I got a 2 terabyte thing. I could have gone as high as 6, I think. And I had the option to upgrade. They shouldn't lock you at 256 because 256 is almost not enough. I mean, it is obviously enough, but if you have 4 games that are like Asgard's Wrath 2, it's probably not. It's probably right on the edge. So
that's right. So yeah, we're definitely going to have to go for the 600 version, and even if that means waiting a month to get it after it launches, which that ain't happening. I'll have it when it launches. But you get the point. Like
right.
it's worth waiting if that's your only option.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the thing. A lot of people say, well, I can't. I mean, we can all cut back on something a little bit longer. And some people are really diligent. They don't have much money. They're on a tight budget, but they make sure they get it. So
anyway, we have a ton of stuff to talk about. We only pulled about half of the headlines with regards to the new games that were announced this week. Those of you who are Patreons can, of course, check out the week's show notes and look at the cutting room floor for all of the news and announcements that got announced this week. But with that said, we still have a full show, 10 games deep, before it's all said and done. So we need to get the show on the road. Let's do so the way that we always do, by saying hello to our friends in chat. Wolveraza is here. What's up? He says the Quest price is about getting bare bones all you need to play VR. Upgrade or not, that's your choice.
Very good. Very good point. And that's the most important, is getting that price point low enough to where it's accessible to everyone, and then they can upgrade it as they can.
Bluebell is here, as is Michelle B. Ryan Brandon says, give me the 1 terabyte option, and that's the one I'll choose for real.
Yeah. Make it $1,000. Wow. Never mind. Make it $700. I'll pay it.
So what's up? Tribe and Mrs. Grey Wolf are in the chat. Hello, friends. Very good getting to hang out with you all once again in California. I love these people. Salt of the earth, Roots.
I'm a little put off, actually, now that I found out that you got to hang out with them. Why are you not in Denver? I got to hang out with Skiva and Alex and Mash. Where's Wes and where's the Grey Wolves? in Denver.
Yeah, I agree. When you sent me those pictures last night of you and Eric and Skiva and D all hanging out, I got total FOMO, and yeah, it was. I wish I was there.
Yeah, I wish you were there too. It was cool. We went to a bar that had all these classic retro arcade games.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was in the worst part of Denver. But it was cool.
Well, you made it home. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
That is all that matters.
Chrome Colossus is the Mrs. Dash of the Earth. Good to know. VR Spry Guy is here. Says pictures have a way of making you want to be there. I know firsthand.
You drove 7 hours to be a part of that picture that I wanted to be there, Spry. The hell, man.
That's true. We should all meet in Boston next year. I'm going to be going in March to Boston to PAX East. It is the second ever Game Cat meetup, and there are going to be hundreds of us there, I would imagine. So I invite you all right now to come hang out with us in Boston next year.
That's crazy. PAX East, huh?
That's right. March of next year, and it falls right around GDC, so I'm probably going to have to miss GDC to go to PAX, but it is what it is, man. These don't happen very often, and I don't want to miss out.
I wouldn't want to miss meeting all those game cats either, man. That's cool.
Samson 143 VR is here. Let's see, I should probably start scrolling up at some point. Mr. Tasselhoff is here. Shout out to Mr. Tasselhoff for sending me my brand new PSVR 2 quick aim stock.
Nice.
Just got it from the post office about an hour ago. Looking forward to trying it out.
Absolutely. Give some insight back and let people know how amazing it is so they can pick it up themselves, right?
Yes, that's the plan. Island Kara is here, as is Mepper. What's up, friends? The Handy Capable Gamer is here. Virtual Slayer Cat. What's up? Boognish66 is here. Hello, friend. Mr. Lord Beavis is here. He says at this point, even developers show off their games with Bobo VR stuff. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Everybody, every single person, I believe, at the yesterday doing the esport for what was the game? The Ultimax.
Echo.
No, the Echo's today. It was Ultimax and then and Blast On. Everybody had Bobo VRs except one guy had a strap, and he actually ended up. It was one of the two that won the Ultimax. That was really cool, actually. I kind of wish I could have been there to see the Echo Arena one today, but
I bet that guy. I bet they bullied and made fun of him for not having the Bobo strap, and then he took that as motivation and just destroyed everybody.
Yeah, they talked some smack at the end, kind of. They're like, well, for one, they did double Titans. Nobody does double Titans. They did it at the end as a meme because they were kicking the other team's ass so bad. And then they said, oh yeah, we've been coasting for months, because they were asking how, to prepare. It's like, yeah, we trained really hard at the beginning. We've just been coasting for months. That's pretty cool.
You know who else has a double Titan, Roots?
My mom!
Yeah, she does.
Let's see here. Je ne sais quoi is here. Hello, Jenna. Radio Runt, Idaho, in the house. Hawk 107 is here. Jeff Rayner's here. What's up, Jeff? Jeff's another one of my friends that I met. Well, I guess I met him initially at Vegas at CES, and he flew in for one night this week just to come and say hi and hang out with all of us. Great dude. Thanks for joining us, Jeff. Good to see you here. Echo into the future. So people want to be tied up and hung from the wall, right? I know one person that does.
Yeah, she also wants to touch it, apparently, according to Brandon VR.
Tatum's in the house. What's up, Tatum? D1360 VR here as well. I got to get one of those. I got to get that script from D so I can just pull the list out and I won't have to scroll anymore.
Yeah, you do actually. That would be really easy. I'll try to remember to have her send it.
Chatty's here. What's up, Chatty? Typical Kiwi in the house. Also, who else is here? Anybody? Scrolling.
You know what you could do, Wes? Get the chat GPT to work your voice and just have it read. And then you could also have the AI make you look like you're looking forward. You could be doing anything else. Everyone would think you were really reading the list. Be good to go.
You know, speaking of Chat GPT, its best friend Brad is going to be in VR chat tomorrow watching the Apple announcement. And I don't know if my work schedule is going to allow me to be there or not, but I'm going to try like hell to
That's
do
what,
it.
10 a.m.?
Maybe your time. It seems a little later than that for me.
Maybe I'm off. Well, somebody says 24 hours left to bite the apple.
Yeah.
Is that tomorrow night?
It's tomorrow. No, it's tomorrow afternoon. I was thinking it was like a 12 or 1 o'clock here today.
Okay. Well, I mean, 12 would sound right about 10 here, right?
Yeah.
So.
But show up early. Brad says he's expecting quite a crowd. So make sure you get your spot. Get up there early as you can.
I will not be able to. I'm going to be rushing to get my stops done so I can get to CruCast. I think Mash, Skiva, and Alex are supposed to come up to Colorado Springs and do the CruCast from here, but I don't know. We haven't solidified that. And then
I'm pretty sure that the plan is to run CruCast on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, well I think those three are not going to be able, and me aren't going to be able to do it Tuesday because I work Tuesday, and then they're going to be traveling Tuesday. So I think
I'm down for either or.
They were trying to get GT to somebody. They said something in the Twitter chat, so maybe I don't know. I haven't looked. So
I haven't looked at it today either. Maybe it's all settled now, and I just don't even know it.
Me
But
neither,
you know me, I'll get in there whenever everyone else is available.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I am too.
Lee VR is here. Midlife Kid as well. EV Man versus Gas in the chat. Hello. Salvador. Hola, Salvador. Gear is here. What up, Gear? James is here. Hello.
We just had a Chinatown D slide in.
What's up, D? Did you get excited to meet everybody?
She was nervous at first, but then so this is the thing. We got so lost. I mean, that the building where it was at did not look like what it was. So we kind of followed other people, or I did. And then we ended up, Alex had to come out. And so we didn't recognize Alex from a distance because he was walking and he was wearing a suit. I've never seen Alex in a suit. And then once you meet everybody, it was like, there's no nervousness at all, right? I wasn't nervous, of course, but
some big dudes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Although I'm about the same, almost a little bit, tiny bit shorter than Alex. I mean, we're almost the same height. And but Skiva,
love that guy.
Well, this is the thing. I told you we weren't in the best neighborhood of Denver, and I told D this too. You know, I was a little nervous about being in that arcade. Not that because this is the biggest thing. It's late at night. It's a bar. Everybody's drinking. Kind of me neighborhood, and that's the atmosphere where shit starts, right? Like somebody bumps somebody by accident. I'm like, so I was just very careful but we had Skiva, the equalizer. As long as Skiva was near me, I felt good because man, no one's messing with Skiva, but because he's so tall.
That's right, the enforcer.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
I couldn't see those dudes fighting. Not Skiva or Alex. They just seem too chill and loving to ever fight anyone.
No, Skiva would be actually the one, like Dee said, he'd be the one in there trying to like break it up, you know.
What would happen is it would be Eric starting some shit and then Skiva having to break it up.
Oh man, Eric, he's an instigator. No, actually, everybody was pretty lax, you know, when it came to what they were doing. Right, no one got out of control.
All right, that is as far up as I can scroll. I did see Mark Smith sliding in here at the end, as is it's free VR real estate. If I missed you, hello, welcome. And we got a lot to talk about here, Roots. But before we get to that, a word from tonight's sponsor. Hey, you. Do you like to murder? Of course you do. We all do. But who really has time to clean up the mess? Well, what if I told you that there's a way for you to thoroughly satisfy your bloodlust, all without the hassle of dealing with law enforcement or a guilty conscience? And it's all made possible through the magic of virtual reality. In The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, you'll punch, stab, shoot, and saw your way through post-apocalyptic New Orleans as you carve out a path of destruction across the city. For a limited time, you can pick up both chapters of this top-selling, award-winning masterpiece of a VR game for an incredible 25% off. To celebrate this special event, Skydance Interactive is teaming up with VR Cover to produce a special, limited edition blood red facial interface for MetaQuest 2, and you can enter to win one for yourself by clicking the link in the description of this video. Don't miss out on your opportunity to save big on two of the best VR games of all time. You can find links to Steam and the MetaQuest store down below, and a similar discount is coming soon to the PlayStation Store. Don't wait. Pick up your copy of The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners today. We'd like to, of course, thank our friends at Skydance Interactive for sponsoring this episode. And, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We've never done any kind of paid content or paid advertisements or anything. And so, we of course, we had to have a discussion about whether or not we should cross that line, But at the end of the day, Roots, when we're talking about The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, chapters 1 and 2, people already know how we feel about this game. It's these are two of the best VR games of all time, and 25% off for either or both of them is a great deal. So at the end of the day, it was kind of a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, it's one of those games that are so good that we want to showcase and let people know you need to play this game, especially if you love this world, right? The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. And so that was the discussion, like you said. My thought is people are going to think whatever they're going to think. And I know we love this game and we recommend it at 25%. I think it's a no-brainer, dude. Like, why are you not buying it right now, right? So,
well, you should already have it. And yeah, I mean, the great thing about it is you can play how you want. It's called Saints and Sinners for a reason. You can be a good guy and just try to help everyone you meet and follow the story along. The story branches depending upon the actions that you take. And if you're bloodthirsty murderer, Roots, I don't know if there's a better VR game for you.
Yeah, get it out of your system. That's one of the things that I liked, actually. I'm going to take that for that advice from I felt like that's what I was like. Evil Weasel kind of slid into the commercial and was like trying to keep things under wraps, but like he almost wasn't able to, but he did. He did a good job.
Thank you. And I'm, Island Care in the chat says, can't you get 25% off with the Game Referral? Sure, you can on MetaQuest, but this is also a sale on the Steam version, and as I've been told, it won't be long before this very same deal comes to the PlayStation Store as well. So right. Yeah, you can. You know what you can't buy, Roots? A limited edition blood red VR cover for your Quest 2.
Super cool, right?
Yeah, awesome. 500 of those they're giving away, and you'll find a link in the description below to enter the contest or buy the games from the stores. There's links for all that stuff, and these links are connected to our channel, so they do help if you use them. It's just a click. It's a free giveaway, Roots. All you have to do is click and enter. Yeah. So why not do it here and now?
Yeah, who doesn't love free stuff? I like to win it, though. So if I'm going to enter it, I need to guarantee. Can you guarantee I'm going to win it, Wes? I guess you can. Nobody can do that, right?
It's going to be Chatty or Techno Glitch, but there are 500 of them, right?
That's
so,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, shout out again to Skydance Interactive and VR Chat. We really appreciate the support and look forward to making more crazy ass ads for you in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing. Oh, sorry. I just want to address what Wolvie just said. Still need to force myself through the first one and just deal with crafting crap. Let me tell you, well, Wolvie, because I thought about this, because Wes has all these recipes and he has crafted so many things. I would say when I played through the first one, I literally crafted like 4% of the time. Almost everything I used was what I found. I just didn't feel like I had to craft stuff. Now, I didn't have as cool a stuff as you would have if you craft, but it's almost like a different way to play the game. You're just relying on what you find, right? And maybe you just craft some food when you're hungry, right? Because everybody's hungry. So
yeah, you don't have to craft a lot in the game. Now you can, and there are advantages to that. But you can scavenge for pretty much everything you need if you're stealthy and thorough. It's a bit more difficult in the first game than the second, because in the first game, you've got until the bells chime and you got to get the hell out.
that's true.
Which you still do in the second game, but unlike the first game, in the sequel, you don't have to go straight back to the resting place. You have a whole nighttime level that you can play through before you get back. So there's more opportunities to find things. But no, you don't have to craft a lot. Like Ruuts said, maybe unlocking like the ability to craft basic food items and bandages can be very helpful. But I mean, if you're like me, and not everyone's like me, you really dig finding these new recipes to craft new guns and ammo. I think that's the coolest part of all of it, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys, if you don't have these games already, now's the time. Again, 25% off on Quest and Steam, coming soon to PSVR 2. And they're absolutely, I mean, the first one was our game of the year, I think 3 years ago. And the second one is a front runner for game of the year this year. So absolutely amazing games. And if you can stomach a little blood and guts and aren't afraid of zombies, you should already own these games.
Yep.
Anyway, speaking of amazing sequels, Ruuts, Meta gave us quite a bit to talk about this week.
Chaos is spreading. Loki's evil invades all realms. He must not be stopped. Betrayal has made you stronger, Guardian.
No more war pigs have the power. Hand of God has struck the hour. Your reality is mine, Guardian.
Exact your vengeance.
And unleash your wrath.
Asgard's Wrath 2. Meta's AAA bet on Quest 2 promises 60 hours of exploration in 2023. This from Ian Hamilton at Upload VR. And by the way, this is a lengthy article. We're going to take it in segments instead of trying to read through the whole thing at once. Asgard's Wrath from Sanzaru Games is Meta's first new Quest game announcement from first-party studios since acquiring more than 8 VR development companies. Ahead of Meta's gaming showcase, we spoke via video with Grace Lingard, creative director at Sanzaru, about the upcoming $59.99 game for Quest 2 and Quest 3, and the studio's transition from PC-powered Rift development to the Quest platform. Back in 2019, we heralded Asgard's Wrath as VR's most ambitious game, calling it an extraordinary accomplishment in our review. The title marked a new high point for PCVR at the time, with its use of scale, incredible visuals, and perhaps most critically, dozens of hours of varied original content to discover. If you're unfamiliar, you take on the role of a brand new god in the pantheon of Norse mythology, the god of animals, and the vast majority of Asgard's Wrath takes place in the bodies of the central mortal hero characters. As a god, you can possess them and take control of their actions, but you'll still hear their voices and thoughts. Asgard's Wrath 2 picks up right after the conclusion of the first game, with the trickster god Loki escaping. Now, you're tasked with chasing him down. For those new to the franchise, there's an optional dream-like sequence at the start of the sequel to catch up the player on the story so far. And just really quickly before I read on, for those of you who intend to finish Asgard's Wrath 1 and haven't done so yet, there could be some spoilers in this. I haven't read it yet, but I know there were spoilers all through the Meta Showcase about how this game ended. And,
Really?
Yeah, they tell you exactly how it ends, Ruuts.
How crazy. Why would they do that, dude? I mean, I guess it's been out a long time, but man, that's crazy.
So warning, you've been warned. The game is clocking in around 60 hours, Lingard says. The world is a lot bigger than the first game. That's 4 lots, Ruuts.
You know who likes it a lot bigger and wants it over 60 hours, Wes?
My mom!
Oh man, she's getting greedy these days. I tell her to like calm down, simmer down. You know?
Simmer down now. Big budget VR on the XR2 processor. Quest 2, of course, is not the Oculus Rift. While developers like Vertical Robot have delivered incredible graphics on the standalone platform with games like Red Matter 2, the power of the XR2 processor driving Quest 2 is simply an entirely different class from PCs, mainlining power from the grid. I won't lie and say it looks exactly like Asgard's Wrath 1 running on a PC, but it can be pretty dang close. There's waterfalls and fire and smoke and effects that you wouldn't think that you could do on a device like Quest 2. We want players to feel like you're adventuring in this fantasy world. I can predict the disbeliefs in my readers' minds. Can Quest 2 truly drive the fabled AAA experiences a certain group of gamers picture as having both eye-popping visuals and incredible replay value? Or, as some people describe, do the games look too much like PlayStation 2 titles to draw real interest? We have people on this team who've been making games for 20 to 30 years. They've made PS2 games. They know what that stuff looks like when we're making that stuff back in the day. And I can tell you, this game does not look like a PS2 game, that's for sure. Meta also just announced the Quest 3 headset is coming this fall with Qualcomm's next generation processor, priced at $500 and shipping alongside the Quest 2, which has just been reduced back down to its original entry-level price of $299. In an email, Meta said that Quest 3's advanced processor and higher resolution will provide an even better look and feel within Asgard's Wrath 2. When developing Asgard's Wrath 1, the longtime Oculus-funded studio had around 80 people, according to a Meta representative during my interview. As of my interview, Sanzaru Games has 120 people working there, according to the representative. That number points to the scope of their work on Asgard's Wrath 2, as well as the size of the bet that Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg placed on the studio's effort to create compelling VR content that warrants a $60 purchase price. You can't make that amount of content that we're making without additional headcount. It would just be unfair. We don't crunch. We don't believe in that kind of junk. We want to be a studio that treats its workers with respect and lets them do their thing. First of all, Roots, a lot of focus in the beginning part of this article on just how big this game is. And if you watch the developer interview that accompanied this announcement, they're pretty adamant that this is a much bigger game with even deeper content in terms of gameplay. And I think they may even be describing it as kind of like an open world, which is amazing, especially when you consider that this is a game that's developed for standalone. And it really not only gets me excited to play the sequel, but it's making me excited for Quest 3 because these graphics look pretty dang good.
Yeah, they look amazing. And it's funny that they say, I guess that first article we went over, the 20% Quest 2 increase, right? And then this article is like, how could they do it? Well, they're bumping it 20%, man. Like, did you not? Well, I guess the articles aren't linked, but I don't know. It's kind of, I guess everything's kind of falling into place. I'm kind of torn though, Wes. I felt like Asgard's Wrath, I've said this before, was already like a little bit too much to chew. And it's weird to say that because I played Elden Ring and I spent 200 hours in that game. So clearly 60 hours, I guess if it's done right, won't feel too long. But I felt like the first game felt too long, and it so hopefully this open world is a little bit different than the way that the first one was structured. Aileen Kara, let me know what you think. Just getting ready to dive into the first one for the first time and see if this one's worth picking up. I think it's worth it. I think it's going to be cool. The first one was cool. I want to know if I can like fist bump the falcon. Oh wait, it's not a falcon. It was a shark, right?
Right.
But yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of this game is the way you incorporated the animal companions, right? So,
could you imagine if all VR games were $1 an hour, Roots?
Oh my god,
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
That would be crazy. They've got a lot of arcades around. We were looking at arcades, D and I were, and it's like there's one that you can go to here in Denver, and I guess they have one in the Springs, and you actually can get like, I don't know, however many hours, like 24-hour pass, come back, throughout a however long time period and play VR. It's pretty cool that they have people that do that. So haven't really checked it out.
But with regards to the length of the first game, I think it started to wear on a lot of people because of some of the way some of the gameplay works. And with that in mind, I want to skip through the middle part of this article and go straight down to the section that's about gameplay. So what specifically will players be doing for all of those hours in VR? The dramatically increased size of the world means that there are now mounts to traverse the landscape, and it's chock full of stuff to go explore and get into. You can climb ropes, ladder. Oh, Roots, you can climb, bro.
I can climb a ladder. I'm so excited. As long as I'm going somewhere with that said ladder, I'm good.
You can climb ropes, ladders, and even rock faces too, as well as the mantling over low objects or sliding and crawling through crevices. The weapons can have grappling hooks added for both combat and other uses. When asked if she'd call the action role-playing game an open world title, Lingard says that's a loaded term for me as a gamer. It's definitely bigger, much more expansive than the first game. I hesitate to say open world because honestly, when people think open world, they think it's like this one seamless level with no loads in between. We have to be smart about how we build this. Like the first game, the story's chapters are broken up into sagas with much more questing in them as you meet different heroes with varying playstyles. Early in the game, you meet your first hero with a story that brings you to Egypt, making clear that the game moves beyond the Norse realms. There will be more heroes and locales revealed later, with Lingard saying Asgard's Wrath 2 features deeper RPG mechanics and a proper XP leveling system and skill trees because the time you spend with each of these heroes is now much longer. Weapons can socket into relics to alter abilities. So 60 hours is primarily main quest. Some people like to take their time exploring, and this game is huge. She suggested that the amount of time spent in the game's first saga is probably equivalent to multiple sagas in the first game. You build up a hideout and recruit allies, and as you grow your bond with them, you can unlock special side quests that delve deeper into the storylines. There's also an Uncharted Rift's endless dungeon crawler element, with leaderboards to compete with friends on. The deeper you get into the main storyline, the more opportunities to find materials to upgrade your weapons in these rifts. Meta shared a trailer and an extended gameplay deep dive regarding more into Asgard's Wrath elements, and Meta told us that players buying Asgard's Wrath 2 can get the first game on PC for free. We'll be curious to learn details as Meta and Sanzaro share more from Asgard's Wrath 2. Overall, Asgard's Wrath 2 represents a milestone in Meta's efforts to build up a major VR development and publishing arm centered around Quest VR games. Will Sanzaru deliver? We're given a lot of leeway to continue our studio culture and without, the overall meta-ness. We're so autonomous. I hardly really have to interact with any of that other stuff. We run the company the same way we have been for the longest time. We just get maybe a few extra perks, I guess, including the ability to weigh in on things early, like when it comes to feedback on the headsets or the SDK, things like that. It's been overall positive for me as a game developer working for them. Asgard's Wrath 2 is slated for release winter 2023 for MetaQuest 2 and Quest 3. So, Ruuts, I was hoping that the guys here at Upload would have picked up on a few more details regarding the way the gameplay is different in 2 than it was in 1. But they did pick up on one, and that is the depth of the progression system. They're calling this a full-blown action RPG with a fleshed out XP system and multiple skill trees. This is the kind of stuff we only have ever seen in flat games.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. That's the draw. That's the progression. That's what most of the VR games are missing. Most of the games stop at the climbing ladder thing.
Right. I remember for you what it was that eventually made you put the first game down, and they have addressed that as well. Although it doesn't mention it in this article, the developer said specifically that the combat in the first game was heavily defensively focused. So you would have to parry 3 or 4 times before you could even start to injure some of these opponents. They have changed that now, Ruuts. You don't have to fight their way anymore. You can fight your way and just hack them to bits right off the top if you want to. Although you do still have to run a little bit of defense with it. It's nowhere near the level that it was in the first game.
Can I waggle my...
I hope not.
I hope not, too. I still want mechanics. I just don't want to be forced to parry 3 times. Because, I don't know about anybody else, but if there's like a formula like that, that's immersion breaking. It's like parry, 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 hit. No.
Yeah.
No one's going to fight that way. And if they do, I'm going to kill them. Because when they go to do it, you know what I mean? I'm going to switch it up and they're not going to know what to do. Oh.
You got animals you can mount now, Ruuts, and ride across these vast landscapes, and a brand new...
you know who else? No, I'm not going to go there. I'll let you guys all keep that in your mind.
But you can ride animals all over the place, and they have you in Egypt for a significant portion of the game, which again, super cool.
Yeah, my thing is as long as the gameplay is compelling, I play games to have fun, and because the gameplay is compelling and the graphics on top of it are amazing, that keeps me in there. But so many games focus on the way everything looks, and the gameplay is shallow. It sounds like this isn't, so.
I think that you'll remember, I'm sure, the phrase that we coined when this game came out, the original came out years ago, and everything pretty much paled in comparison to it. And it made great games look good and good games look mediocre at that time. And from the looks of things, while it might not be quite as graphically beautiful as a PC version would have been. I think in terms of the expansion of the maps, the deep, rich story content, and the deep gameplay loops and progression, I think that we're going to pick that moniker back up once again for the Asgard's effect. I think that this game is going to be pretty much the only game that we know of right now, anyway, that can pretty much on the level of a AAA traditional game, and I think that that it's going to raise the bar again this year, just like it did 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think it's going to stay to meta? And I'm not only talking PC. Thinking, do you think it would ever go to PlayStation VR 2? Because somebody in the chat's going to say, when is this coming to PSVR 2?
I don't think that Meta spent all that money on this studio to let their competition have their best game. I think that would be the dumbest shit of all time.
Yeah, but that's it has to be said. We have to clarify that right here. Somebody out there is saying, before I said that, they were thinking, I'm gonna wait for the PlayStation VR 2 version. It's not coming.
Now, if I had to bet, I would bet that Sony has games that are this deep in development. Whether we get them this year or not remains to be seen. And this is great, Roots. This, even though this game will never show up on PlayStation VR 2, the announcement of a game like this is great news for PlayStation VR 2 gamers, because what this is going to do is it's going to force Sony to up their game, and they're going to have to bring us games that top this one in the years to come. So whether or not there's even an equivalent to this in development, which again I think there is, really is irrelevant, because I think that we will get more AAA VR games because of what Meta's doing with this one.
I agree 100%. Why do you think no one's picked up the developers of What the Bat, like that studio, snatched them up? You know what I mean? Like
price tag's too high for that.
Too high. It's too expensive, bro. You can't afford us.
Philozix joining us in chat, as is Sky Hive Collective, and Chris Richardson. What's up, friend?
I saw Phil
Old
Yarn
Dart's
in there.
here.
He said he finally made a live, and then he said he had to go to bed. I felt happy and sad at the same time.
And so what's up, Phil Yarn? What's up, Techno Glitch? What's up, Old Dark? What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us this late Sunday night. Ian Miller, Ion the Icon, with us as well. All right. Well, I'm stoked. I am completely stoked for Asgard's Wrath 2. I want it now. But I don't want it now, Roots, because if I had it now, I'd have to play it on Quest 2, and I am not playing this on Quest 2. I'm going to be playing this one on Quest 3.
Yeah, definitely not going to be playing it on Quest 2 for sure. Quest 3 all the way. Pro controllers too, probably. Maybe.
Anyway, that's just getting us started. The hits just keep on coming.
It's you! Don't be afraid. I'm here to help. There are many like me here, trapped in this house. Each night, the guests arrive.
Stout, what do you want? Show yourself!
Classic 90s adventure The Seventh Guest is getting a VR remake this year. This from Scott Hayden at Road to VR. Vertigo Games, the VR pioneers behind the Arizona Sunshine franchise and After the Fall, announced a new VR game during MetaQuest Gaming Showcase that takes you to a haunted house for some eerily lifelike encounters with the paranormal. Well, not exactly new. Called The Seventh Guest, the single-player VR adventure is actually based on the classic 90s CD-ROM title that tosses you into a haunted mansion for puzzles and full-motion video character spirits who bring the early adventure game to life. Instead of a flat video, though, the new Seventh Guest is being built with volumetric video capture alongside a complete overhaul of everything, top to bottom. Here's how fast travel. Why would fast travel be talking about Vertigo Games thing? All right, so here's how Fast Travel Games describes it. The team is using volumetric video capture to recreate the full motion video storytelling of the original game, bringing the classic adventure to life like never before. And for the first time ever, the iconic mansion is being recreated in full 3D. Though don't be surprised if it starts shifting around you. After all, it is haunted. Spooky, but never gory, The Seventh Guest is like a thrilling amusement park ride you can experience at home, packed with puzzles that pay homage to the original point-and-click adventure while taking full advantage of VR. The Seventh Guest is being developed by Vertigo Studios Rotterdam, a division of Vertigo Games based in Rotterdam, Netherlands. There's no exact release date yet, however, the studio says it's coming to Quest 2 and Quest Pro sometime this year. Roots, so here we have another classic traditional game, and I do mean classic. This is one of the OG games being recreated ground up for VR, and a lot of people are really excited for this.
Yeah, this game sounds so familiar. Like, I know I must have played it. Looks cool. And, I mean, that's the thing. Most of the people in VR are a good portion, at least still, are older, right? Like us. And hitting the nostalgia. Even the 90s, like, doesn't even have to be that old, right? So.
Roots, they had to put they put a disclaimer on the Meta Showcase explaining to people what a compact disc is.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, we are getting to that point, right? Does that make you feel old? I mean, the fact that I actually tried an 8-track, now it wasn't like big when I was little, but I've actually had one. I think it was in a little robot thing I had, but the CD-ROM, it was actually very advanced and it's very outdated. So
my first big stereo system had an 8-track and a vinyl on top. So,
yeah, that's badass.
I feel you. But this is cool, man. Like in the span of 2 weeks, you know, we've been speculating for a long time about what these mysterious Vertigo Games titles might be. They said they had 4 in development, and I don't remember if After the Fall was one of those. I think maybe it was. But now, within 2 weeks, we've got 2 more of them, Arizona Sunshine 2 and The Seventh Guest. Now, The Seventh Guest this is Myst era stuff, back at the very dawn of CD-ROM gaming. And it was one of the first games that actually brought in like digital video footage into a game. Before, we just had poorly animated sprites that looked vaguely like people, if you squint your eyes and imagine real hard. Seventh Guest was one of the first titles to bring in the new technology that actually allowed real video to be inside of a game. And what's cool about this, Roots, is now that it's coming to VR at the dawn again of a new technology, they're using cutting edge volumetric video capture to bring those same sequences to life in 3 dimensions. That's pretty cool.
I think it's really cool. And it's going to bring some nostalgia to a lot of people and looks cool in and of its own right? So,
yeah,
that's just cool.
Mickey Berg getting to work. Akron, Attack of the Squirrels on Steam. Key floating in the chat. Somebody grab it up quick. So yeah, I mean, do you think that people like Radio Runt and Scion could get into a game like this, Roots? Because it's not, it's spooky, but not scary per se. It's haunted house, things moving around you. You see a ghost, but it's not phasmophobia we're talking about here. This is a remake of an old school point and click haunted house.
I think so. I think Scion's more specific type of horror things. Usually Radio Runt doesn't do any horror, but I think you could probably do it. You know, this is the thing. I don't know if you had this thought or not, Wes, but you know, like you said, we saw Arizona Sunshine 2 come out recently, or the announcement, and then this, and I had this epiphany. It made sense. Everything clicked. Why there hasn't been fixes for After the Fall. For so long, they've been working on all these games, man. Like, they're busy. I just say they're too busy to work on After the Fall anymore.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. It all comes together in the end, Roots. Now we get it.
Yeah.
Now we know why we couldn't play Horde mode for 6 months. It was
That's
because they were
right,
working
and I'll
on the
tell you-
seventh guest, bro.
I'll tell you what, with Arizona Sunshine 2, I'll take it. Because I'd rather play that than the Horde mode. I think it's going to be really good.
I think so too, especially for people like me who really dig this type of game. I like puzzle games. I like horror games. This is right down my alley. For what it's worth, those of you out there who play exclusively on PlayStation VR 2, this game is coming to PlayStation VR as well. This is not a Quest exclusive, and to be honest, a significant portion of the best games that Meta delivered in their showcase are multi-platform games. They're not exclusive to Quest.
Do you think, I know we've established that Asgard's Wrath 2 is probably not coming to PlayStation VR 2. Do you think there's a chance the first one would? I mean, it's old. It's dusty, man. That thing's fucking ancient.
I don't want to say never because both stables have ample trade material to make mutually beneficial agreements. But to be honest, it makes more sense for me to see Sony make deals with the likes of
Valve.
Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah, and get Half-Life games on their system because they have a mutual competitor when it comes to VR, and that competitor is MetaQuest.
Yeah. Enemy of my enemy is my friend.
So Yarn says, did you guys see that there's a Street Fighter 6 Prey Dog VR mod out there? That's sick. So Prey Dog updated the RE framework mod to include Street Fighter 6 now, right?
Starting to sound like a universal mod. Why doesn't he just release that one? How cool, though. That's super cool. You know, I feel bad. What was it? The Luke Ross mod came out for that last game. And I'm reading the comments, and people are like, why are you wasting time doing a mod for this game? This is Unreal Engine. Like, it's going to be coming out on in the Prey Dog mod soon, right? I think it was for the one you played.
You know, it's funny. It's funny that you say that. Like, I was on Luke Ross's Patreon the other day, just reading comments, and our friend Alex that tests out the Unreal Universal mod was on there throwing some serious passive aggressive shade at Luke Ross. It was funny.
Really? Well, see that somebody was saying that, and maybe it was even him. I don't know. I just know that they basically were saying that, you know, you're wasting your time making this, that Prey Dog's making a mod, and this is only $3, and you know, or whatever, and it's not, it's just controller, and then somebody said exactly what I was thinking. Maybe they don't want to wait. Drop your fucking mod. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to wait. Wes has already played it in VR. He didn't have to wait for the Prey Dog mod. Right. So, like, there's two thoughts to it. So, I don't know.
It looked great, too. I mean, it looked really good. High on Life, that is. I guess we're going to need to get in the Atomic Heart soon. But High on Life looked amazing after we got it all dialed in.
Yeah. What did you think of the story? Or the gameplay? Or the humor? Was it everything?
The humor was hilarious. The gameplay was good too, even with the head aiming. Now, obviously, the Prey Dog mods are going to have a little bit of an advantage because it does have 3DOV motion controller support. So instead of aiming by looking at things, you're going to have to kind of point at them. So that'll be a bit of a bump in immersion. But I don't see how it could possibly look any better on the Unreal mod than it does already with Luke Ross.
Yeah.
Anyways, seventh guest coming most likely later this year to MetaQuest platforms as well as PlayStation VR 2. But that was not the only classic game revealed to be getting revived for VR. Bulletstorm to bring skill shot carnage in standalone VR version. This again from Scott Hayden at Road to VR. Among Meta's avalanche of Quest gaming news this week, the company revealed that Bulletstorm, the co-op shooter first launched on flat screen in 2011, is coming to VR for the first time. The game is currently under development by Incuvo, known for Green Hell VR, and the game's original developers, People Can Fly. If you haven't played the original or the remastered Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition from 2017 on flat screen, Bulletstorm sets itself apart from other shooters by emphasizing skill points, which you earn by creatively dispatching the enemy. Here's how Incuvo describes the VR version. Back in 2011, Bulletstorm introduced the world to the skill shot. Kick an enemy into a cactus? Skill shot. Crush one under a hot dog cart? Skill shot. Grab one with your energy leash and fling them into a burner? Definitely a skill shot. Today, People Can Fly and Incuvo announced that they're bringing Bulletstorm to the MetaQuest store. Skill shots new and old, as well as the action-packed story, all of it recreated from the ground up to take advantage of VR. This week's announcement of the co-op shooter has also arrived with a gameplay trailer showing off the game's skill-based carnage, fast-paced locomotion, and massive monsters. It's not clear when we'll see Bulletstorm on Quest 2 or what other platforms it might arrive on them in the future, which, by the way, this isn't true. This game is confirmed to be coming to PlayStation VR 2 for those of you keeping score at home. And I think that's the end of the article. That's the last I can see of it. Roots, this is a PS3 era popular arcade shooter that is known for fast-paced action shooting and massive scaled enemies and levels. People have said it many times before that this is a game that would work well in VR, and apparently that fact is not lost upon the developer because, once again, we're getting a VR version of this most likely later this year.
Nice. I can't wait for it. It does look amazing. I never heard of it, but apparently, at least the full clip edition, is very, very positive reviews. So
yeah, I've got this game around here somewhere. I've got the PS3 copy around here somewhere, and I was looking for it before the show just so I could have a prop, but I couldn't find it. But it's here. I assure you, it's here. And a lot of people very excited about this one.
Are you going to buy the PC full clip edition first and play it flat?
No, what I'll do is I'll mod it.
Yeah, that's right. It's $40, Wes.
$40.
Yeah, $40 for all those people that are like, man, dude, VR games are too expensive. $60 is too much. This is a 6-year-old game, came out in 2017, and it is $40. But it sounds like the the depth of the skill tree and all that is exactly what it's what I've been bitching about for a long time, you know. So
Island Kara says, I hope they test it well and it doesn't bomb. You know, if it were just People Can Fly developing this, I might have a little bit of trepidation there, but this is coming from Incuvo, who brought us Green Hell VR. They also developed, I think, Layers of Fear and Blair Witch for Bloober
they know
Team.
what they're doing. They're not going to bring it in a horrible state. And if the game is already amazing, like Wolvie says, he owns every version of the game. It tells you something. So Wolvie must be like in hog heaven, just being like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Super cool.
Yeah, man. Again, another multi-platform VR game announced during the Quest 2 showcase. And it just goes to show you, man, you know, we haven't been giving Meta enough credit with regard to their marketing. They've kind of dropped off the map there for some time. But they know what they're doing, man. This is all it takes to do a good showcase, right? Show a few, you know, third-party VR games in the show with the AAA banger of a game, and everyone's happy, Roots.
Right, absolutely. And you solidified that the Quest 3 does exist, right? And that it's actually a reasonable price, or at least in most people's mind. You filled in all the gaps, and you're telling them, hey, these games are coming out at the end of the year, and guess what? You're going to have new hardware to play it on.
Imagine that, Roots. Showing the people the games that's coming for a new headset 6 months before it drops. I mean,
yeah, building hype in the games. Isn't that crazy? What are you doing?
It's crazy.
What are you doing, Meta?
Mickey Barrio staying busy. Superfly Steam key in the chat. Grab it now. It's Superfly. Yeah, man. Anyway, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record here because we're going to be saying the same things over and over again. This looks cool. This game is a proven commodity, something that's super fast paced and fun in the vein of like a Duke Nukem of VR. And again, another reason for fans of shooters to be excited. You know what, though, Roots, on a different topic altogether, how many times have we said on this show that enough with the zombies, where are the vampire games? A lot, right?
Yeah. I hit the transition by accident. Yeah, all the time. And they just, I guess, if somebody was listening, Wes.
Yeah, finally, somebody listening to our cries.
Venice, Italy. Felt like I was back on square one. Hiding in the night. I didn't want to get dragged into this. But the guilty must be punished. You do well to remember that. Because if you don't, I'll make things very uncomfortable for you.
Vampire the Masquerade Justice heads to Venice this fall on Quest 2 and PSVR 2. This is from Henry Stockdale at Upload VR. Vampire the Masquerade Justice brings the World of Darkness back to VR, arriving this fall on Quest 2, Quest 3, and PSVR 2. Developed by Fast Travel Games, Justice marks their second venture into Paradox's World of Darkness series, following 2021's Wraith the Oblivion Afterlife. A new adventure RPG, you play as a vampire hiding in the shadows of Venice, within a gritty narrative that includes several side missions and dialogue options, armed with a crossbow used for puzzle solving and combat. Fast Travel Games outlined the abilities on offer in a press release, You'll be able to use a cloak of shadows to hide from the guilty in plain sight, boil your victim's insides with a cauldron of blood, or drag them into oblivion with a shadow trap. You'll earn XP by completing missions and optional objectives, and can purchase new disciplines in skill trees for stealth, combat, and high-speed traversal. Justice allows players to experience the tantalizing world of Vampire the Masquerade like never before, thanks to the power of virtual reality, says Eric Oldedahl, creative director and co-founder of Fast Travel Games, in a prepared statement. Get ready to get up close and personal with allies, enemies, and of course, prey, all in stunning VR. There's no shortage of mysterious kindred to meet, exotic locales to traverse, or foes to splatter onto the architecture. Vampire the Masquerade Justice launches in fall 2023 on the MetaQuest platform and PSVR 2. Roots, Fast Travel Games has been busy, bro. Killing it.
That's crazy. As Old Darth, or was it Old Darth? Somebody said no. Yeah, Old Darth says Fast Travel Games, thumbs up. Yeah, they're crushing it. And people are asking. You said this is a known IP to me between so this game exists like flat, and they're bringing it to VR. Or
this franchise does. Vampire the Masquerade has been around for many years. I think they just had a new game come out on Steam and consoles this past year, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, nice. So, because that was one of the things that Old Darth was also wondering how deep the game is. But it sounds like they've actually, I mean, if it's a known IP and they're bringing the IP into VR, they're going to bring everything about it into VR, which is really cool.
Let me ask you this, Roots. When was the last episode where we mentioned twice in the episode that a new game is bringing skill trees and XP into VR?
Not many, not at all. That's for sure.
Bluebell with the $9.99 donations says a great show as always with the best VR chat family. Great job, guys. Thank you, Bluebell, for the donation. And now that I see this, before we went on the air, I noticed that, was it Samson? I think Samson gave us a $5 super chat super early on. So thank you to Samson as well. And if it wasn't Samson, I apologize to whoever it was. I'm pretty sure it was Samson.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Bluebell. Thank you, Samson. Thank you for the support. It's very much appreciated.
And it's funny that Bluebell says that. I was telling Mash, Skiva, and Alex when I was hanging out with them last night, Wes. Not you, me, because you've been hanging out with them forever lately. But I was telling them that was the thing that I think is my favorite part of what we do, or what we've brought into fruition with this show is our community. It's like the best community ever, and it's just super cool.
100% agree with that. Our community is the best part. And you know, it's the most obvious thing when you go to an event like I just went to in California this past week. That's a VR event, not just members of our own community, but the VR community in general. It's still a relatively small thing, and it's cool to be around so many people that kind of share this common passion. But our community specifically are just awesome people who live it 24/7, man. You can see it in the Discord.
Yeah, absolutely.
Island Care says you're twerking.
I'm twerking. I was thinking about twerking, but how'd you get in my head there, Island Care? The hell? It's crazy.
Anyway, Roots, I'm excited that we finally have a vampire game coming to VR that allows you to actually be the vampire, and not just taking place anywhere, but in a beautiful old world city of Venice.
And it's cool that it's actually slated as which I guess this series is an RPG. And like, that's one of the things we want out of VR is we want to be immersed, right? And we want to be the vampire. And that's what an RPG is. You're actually going to become the vampire. And now this is my thing, Wes. I'm just got to make sure I don't come out and bite anybody. You know what I mean? Like suck their blood. Because in real life, people frown upon that. In the VR game, it's fine. Apparently, it's like championed. But it sounds cool. I've never been a actual VR or vampire in a game. So, well, I guess I have with V Rising, and that was actually pretty cool too. So,
Yeah, I think the reason this is called Justice is you're actually a good vampire. You only try to eat bad guys, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
kinda
that's
like
actually a good
Morbius.
idea. I'm gonna start. No, I'm not gonna start doing that. I'm not even gonna say that jokingly because the police show up at my door. And I don't want the police at my door, Wes.
Here's the only problem, Roots. We've been waiting for so long to have a cool vampire game in VR that one's just not enough, bro. I need more than one vampire game to be announced.
Gently. Keep silent. At last, aim for the center of the chest. And do not be gentle.
Shell Games unveils Silent Slayer, Vault of the Vampire. Jump scare puzzler for Quest 2. This from Scott Hayden. Shell Games, the VR veteran behind I Expect You to Die VR puzzle game series, announced a brand new title last week during MetaQuest Gaming Showcase that aims to jump scare the bejesus out of you. It's called Silent Slayer, Vault of the Vampire, and it's set to launch on Quest 2 and Quest Pro at some point. The studio says a Quest store page is coming soon, but they haven't mentioned any release window yet. Here's what it's all about, according to Shell Games. Put your stealth skills to the test in Silent Slayer, Vault of the Vampire, a suspenseful, single-player jump scare game where you must slay vampires in their sleep before they become too powerful to defeat. Carefully crack open vampire coffins, disarm their traps, and stake them through the heart to stop an ancient ritual that would make a centuries-old vampire clan all-powerful. Oh, crap. My browser's putting images over the article.
I think that was actually literally the end of it anyway, as far as
All right,
words.
good deal. Good
Unless
deal.
you switch pages. No, I guess that's just pictures. Yeah,
that's cool. Anyway, Roots, this comes from Shell Games, the studio that's best known for I Expect You to Die, and this is kind of similar to that game in some ways. That it is that type of procedural puzzler that Shell Games is so good at creating. Only there's a very different vibe here, and I think it's kind of like a stealth puzzler. Like you're sneaking around in the proximity of a sleeping vampire that will kill you the moment it wakes its eye, that it opens its eyes up. So not only are you solving puzzles, but you're trying to do it quietly. And I think that's a cool concept here. This seems like something that will keep you on the edge of the seat the whole time that you're playing.
Yeah, that sounds like it for sure. I just wanted to know what he was doing, grabbing that really sharp pencil, and I was like, "Oh God, this is actually he's a vampire slayer." And that's the complete opposite of what we just saw, right? One, you get to be the vampire. This one, you're killing the vampire. And leave it to Shell Games to come up with a puzzler that's such a unique twist on the puzzle game itself, right? And the atmosphere and super cool. I want to be a vampire and kill one at the same time, Wes. Feeling a little awkward about that.
Kill yourself,
kill
right?
myself. No, I don't want to do that with that sharp pencil. So
Old Darth says vampires and puzzles. Interesting mix. I agree. When I first saw it, I was just kind of like, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't know how great it'll be. But the more I think about the concept and the fact that they keep saying, that the thing is relying on well-timed jump scares, like I could see it. I can see the gameplay loop in my mind and see where that might drive tension up, suspense up, and then, again, assuming that the jump scares are well-timed, get your heart rate up a little bit at the same time.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that they're moving on. I'm not saying they're never going to make another I Expect You to Die, but I mean, how far can you go? It's like it's branch out and do some other stuff, and this is very unique. I've never seen a vampire puzzler. It's definitely different, and we laughed, Wes. It's always a unique idea. We laughed when we saw a kayak and a gun. That turned out to be a banger for that studio, and this one could be as well for this one.
Absolutely. Chris Richardson says, I expect me to die.
I expect us all to die, old Darth says. Yeah, the way the world's going. Although, we got to keep hope.
Mickey Barrios bringing out the bangers, man. Vertigo Remastered in the chat. Grab it up quick.
That is an amazing game. Definitely worth playing. Absolutely. And get you ready to play Vertigo 2. Very possibly game of the year for 2023.
Very possibly.
Or definitely.
Man, we've got such a tough decision to make. We got to finish those games, dude.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I want to finish, though. This is the thing. Not every game that is possibly a winner of the 2023 game of the year is a game that I want to be in there. I mean, look what won last year. What the Bat? I still haven't played that game. I've been tempted,
you know what's going to
actually.
happen, man? You know what's going to happen? We're going to put all this time to, Gran Turismo, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Resident Evil Village, Vertigo Remastered, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, Retribution, Red Matter 2. And that's just, through May. They're going to drop Asgard's Wrath 2 in December, and we're going to have that same old dilemma that we always have.
Yeah, do we include it?
Yeah.
Recency bias as well, right? That's always a question.
Yep. So we've got quite a task on our hands in the remaining 7 months of this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bluebell says I have to play too many games. Hallelujah. There's so much to play right now, dude. I would be okay if it stopped for a little while.
You guys don't even, well, maybe Bluebell does. I don't know. Probably not. But I don't even have my problem. I've got like Diablo 4 and like amazing flat games that are just so amazing. The story for Diablo 4, and this was what Alex was saying last night that he loves about Diablo because he's going to be playing it with his wife when he gets home. And especially with this one, they don't hold back when it comes to the horror. Like the story alone, like I watched this opening scene where I watched this priest get bludgeoned to death by the town, and it was the creepiest fucking thing I've seen in a long time, Wes. And that game it's just really good.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me back into what I was going to say earlier. And there's, now we've got this vampire game that puts you in the shoes of a vampire that's kind of good. Then you have the vampire puzzle game that puts you hunting sleeping vampires. We still need our evil ass vampire game that's just bloodthirsty killers that can seduce you by day. We still haven't got that one yet, and I hope that's one's next on the docket.
Oh, I'm sure it's coming.
Awesome Tatum's loving Diablo 4.
Yeah,
just like you.
It's just I loved Diablo 2. But this number 4 is way better than the second one ever was, and it's just got the skill tree is just so deep in what you can do. And like if you and I were both I'm a sorcerer right now, we both did a sorcerer class. There's we had 5 people. There's so many infinite ways that we could have it. We could possibly not even have any of the same skills, and it's just crazy, So very deep.
Darth says a Salem's Lot VR game.
Oh,
how about Fright Night VR, like a retro vampire game?
Yeah, that would be badass, right? Or even how about the Lost Boys?
Oh yeah,
that would be cool, right?
We could do this all night. What about the interview with the vampire?
Oh yeah. Oh, is that the actual name though? Isn't it? They say it's something else now. There you have
Yeah.
like this big long title.
Whatever it is in our universe right now.
In this Mandela effect, it's this. Yeah.
Anyways, not for nothing. Scary game. We have any more any more scary games, Roots?
I saw a means to realize my potential, to transcend the human form, to become the predator I was always born to be. It's time.
You know who loves to see 11 when she goes upside down, Roots?
My mom!
Yeah, she does.
Become Vecna in new Stranger Things VR, launching fall 2023. This from Harry Baker. A new trailer for Stranger Things VR premiered at last week's MetaQuest Gaming Showcase. The game marks a major foray into VR for the Stranger Things franchise, with development at Tenderclaws in collaboration with Netflix. The studio previously built virtual reality series and The Under Presents. Tenderclaw says Stranger Things VR will be a psychological horror action game, launching fall 2023 for Quest 2 and Quest Pro. It will also support Quest 3, which is also set to launch sometime this fall. The gameplay looks promising, showing how you'll inhabit Vecna, the antagonist from the 4th series of Stranger Things, to fight off monsters and conquer people's minds. There's even a few brief appearances from the series regular 11, played in the show by Millie Bobby Brown. Tenderclaw says you'll be able to grab, crush, and throw your opponents using telekinesis, as well as relive memories of Vecna pre-transformation and other characters from the show, such as Will and Billy. Spoilers below if you haven't caught up on the series. Spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen. Experience the world of Stranger Things from the never-before-seen perspective of Vecna as he explores unknown realities, forms the hive mind, and enacts his plan for revenge against Eleven and Hawkins. Players will invade the dreams and memories of fan-favorite characters and harness telekinetic powers to possess minds and battle creatures as Harry Krill's transformation into Vecna and his influence on the events of the prior season is revealed. The trailer is absolutely dripping in style, and the footage looks absolutely stunning. It's clear that Tenderclaw's signature visuals are a perfect fit for this 80s-inspired horror nostalgia franchise. The trailer also comes with a disclaimer that the footage was recorded on PC, but previous Tenderclaws releases tend to look pretty equivalent on Quest, so that tracks well for Stranger Things VR. So far, Stranger Things is only confirmed for Quest 2, Quest 3, and Quest Pro later this year. However, last November, the studio said it was coming to major VR platforms, so maybe keep an eye out for more news on potential other platforms soon. Roots, here we are with another major IP bringing another pretty slick-looking game into VR.
Yeah. It's one of those things that can either be good or not. You know, I'm torn. I'm torn on whether it'll be good. But hopefully it'll be good. I know I enjoyed both of their titles, previous titles. So could
right.
be good.
And for what it's worth, the art style looks cool. It reminds you a lot of kind of what they did with the Under Presents. And gameplay aside, which again could be good, it could be bad. I do think that at the very least, they'll tell an interesting story here, especially for fans of the Stranger Things series. For the way this reads, I think they're going to add some context and backstory to the most recent season of Stranger Things. And I don't know about the game, but what I've watched of the show has been pretty good.
Yeah. I saw the first season. I never watched much after that, but I mean, I know there's a big following, so that must be good, So.
Yep. I forgot where I was going to go.
Is it going to have the real 11 voice?
I don't know. You're not playing as 11, so I'm not sure.
Probably not. They just show her in the picture there, I guess, just to let people know what the thing is. So.
Right. Everyone loves 11 Roots.
Yeah, who doesn't know? Love 11. This is totally on a different subject, but I'm looking at this Switchback VR visuals patch coming in late June on PSVR 2. And I'm excited to hear that, especially like the details of the patch in the article. But I'm thinking, like, what's the point of telling me that, after, because it's not like it, I mean, we're now, 6 months, almost 5 months since the release, and they could have just,
we're 2 months.
or
like
2 months, or
6 weeks,
whatever,
2 months.
however long it's been. It's been a while that they've not done it. Why not just tell me when it's done? I was like all set to jump in there, and I'm like, fuck, man, I still gotta wait till the end of June.
Yeah, I feel you.
Because
I feel
I'm not gonna go back in now until it's fixed. So
I feel you completely there. I think the reason why they did it was because people were giving them shit about being quiet. So they're like, fine. We'll tell you what's coming. And for what it's worth, I mean, it seems like a pretty substantial patch.
Right.
Not only are they fixing like the low res visuals, but they're significantly decreasing load times. They've completely reworked like some of the textures and lighting. And it promises to be a pretty substantial visual upgrade to the game when it comes later this month. Another thing that I noticed in the article that they put out was that they say that they have big plans for the game going forward as well, which is exciting for me.
DLC, huh?
That's what it sounds like.
Well, hopefully they'll release the DLC in a better state, because imagine if the game that they're about to fix at the end of this month, if that's how they released it in that form, how well it would be received. And granted, I mean, we're kind of just still in the soft launch, or I guess we're kind of moving out of the soft launch, right? And so it's not like they really hurt themselves too bad, probably, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't think so. Most people like the game. I think the only people that really got down on it were the ones that had that visual glitch that made it look terrible on their PlayStation. But a lot of us really dug it. Like, I played all the way through it. And have been craving going back in lately, honestly.
Yeah.
Mickey Barrios with Invisible Hours in the chat. Somebody
that's
grab
an
that one
amazing
up
story.
quick. Yep. Chris Richardson says it's a solid, consistent journey. Stranger Things he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, I've only seen the first season, so I guess I'd have to go back and watch. I know. Who did they kill? And didn't they kill that one chick in the beginning that was on the diving board? I was like, that's just not fair.
Yeah. I remember that.
Can't do that. Crazy.
And that's what the best TV shows do, Roots. They kill the characters you love the most.
Yeah, that is the best, right?
Yeah, make you care, and then make you care even more.
Yep. Glenn.
Anyway, vampires, monsters, ghosts, more vampires, more monsters. We got any more ghosts?
You think you know the whole story of the Ghostbusters. Well, you don't know my story. 1984. My research brought me to Columbia University, where I studied under the Ghostbusters. They dismissed my work, called it dangerous. But in San Francisco, I can show them, with its untapped cauldron of the undead. Where others saw fear, I saw subjects. How could I know my research would stir a dormant evil? The Ghost Lord. Alcatraz. Tortured souls, whose guilt I could drain and drain again. Their pain, the price of progress. My dear assistant Cadence, soon everyone will understand. Especially you, Ghostbusters, with your silly parlor tricks. You will see the progress I have made. Know the power I have harnessed. You will realize that I, Gustav Hookfather, am the genius who gave the world endless clean energy. The Ghost Lord is coming. What have I brought upon the world? The time of the Ghost Lord is here.
Ghostbusters VR co-op game coming to Quest 2 and PSVR 2 this fall. Gameplay trailer we just watched. This again from Scott Hayden at Road to VR. During MetaQuest Gaming Showcase this past week, developer InDreams and publisher Sony Pictures Virtual Reality announced that the long-awaited Ghostbusting VR game, Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord, is set to launch this fall. InDreams, also known for Fract, Phantom Covert Ops, and upcoming PSVR 2 exclusive Synapse, also released a new trailer featuring a few snippets of gameplay, showing off some of the game's 4-player co-op in action. In it, we see some a bunch
Grammar.
of the franchises. Yeah, I know,
out.
right? What's that mean?
Yeah.
What's grammar? In it, we see a bunch of the franchise's iconic stuff, such as proton packs, ghost traps, PKE meters, and even the Ecto-1. Damn it, these freaking graphics getting in the way of the words again. I'm just going to skip that line. Strap on your proton pack and step into the world of the Ghostbusters in immersive virtual reality. Run your Ghostbusters HQ in a new city, San Francisco, and unravel a rich mystery in a new chapter for the Ghostbusters universe. Wield iconic equipment as you track, blast, and trap ghosts in gripping encounters across an extensive and engrossing campaign. Go it alone or as a team with up to 3 friends in co-op to defeat a ghastly new threat, the Ghost Lord. Continue the Ghostbusters legacy, protect the city from fiendish ghosts, and experience all the humor and frights from the beloved franchise. And again, I've got graphics in my way here. I don't think I can get.
I think that's it. That's the end of it.
Out of the way.
As far as the article goes.
There was another line, but
it says something about it says see also telekinetic shooter synapse. I don't know.
Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord something PSVR 2 at some point this fall. Notably the game something. We may also see a release on. Yeah, it's probably behind your graphics as well.
What the hell, man? I want to read it. Come on, man.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
it's coming later this year. We've known about this game for just over a year, and been relatively excited for it. We finally got to see a little bit of the gameplay here, Roots, and I think the gameplay looks solid. The structure of the game, though, is kind of like mission-based. So the game's going to throw a series of missions at you, and I guess they're going to be kind of ordered into a campaign. And apparently, depending on whether or not you're playing solo or co-op, is going to pretty substantially affect how you play.
Okay.
Your tactics are going to change if you have your friends in there with you, which makes sense.
So it's a story based too. So they're telling a story, and I thought it was interesting that they said it's a new chapter, a new city. You're moving to San Francisco. Does that mean you're going to have to watch out for like human feces in the street, or is that? I guess this is not real San Francisco. This is like probably going to be nice and clean and pristine, like the San Francisco of old. But yeah. I don't know that. I don't know. People were saying, I guess, in the chat, Chrome Colossus saying that they didn't like the way the ghost design looks, because they design, that type of stuff, and I get that. I don't give a shit. I want it to be the gameplay to be fun, and I want a progression system. Give me something more to do than just run around. Give me a reason for getting these ghosts. So I'm kind of interested to see what the gameplay is going to be like, right? And what I'm going to be doing in this city, running around doing these missions.
This is a beloved franchise, and people have been clamoring for a legit Ghostbusters VR game for a long time. The best thing that we have thus far is a short wave shooter that was made in Dreams, which was actually really good, but it was pretty short and basic. I think people have lofty standards for this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed right off the top because this is in San Francisco and not New York. It's cartoony versus realistic looking. I mean, and it didn't help that Blair Renaud came out immediately after this game got announced and put together a short scene of what he thinks a Ghostbusters game should look like, and it looked like a friggin' movie.
I know. Well, that's what somebody was saying in earlier, that the fan made stuff, or I guess that type of stuff, looks way better. And to be fair, you probably, I guess not even probably, it does look better. But again, at least for me, in being in the world and how amazing and beautiful it looks is only part of the puzzle, right? It's not even a big part of the puzzle to me. It's like important, but I would submit that the gameplay loop and is more immersive to me than how everything looks. But you can't look like shit either. It's a fine line, Wes.
Agreed. So. And it's honestly, it's a bit of a different thing. It's apples and oranges creating like a single scene that takes place in one room with limited gameplay mechanics versus putting together a whole story-based game that's an actual game. So it's a bit of an unfair comparison, honestly.
Yeah, very true.
But I get the sentiment. People love this franchise. They want to only see the best for it. At least we have some gender diversity with our cast of characters.
Yeah, that's all I matter. That's all that matters to me, man. Is I just wanted to make sure there was like a good full
at least scope. One dude. There needs to be at least one dude if it's the Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah, all female Ghostbusters movies. That doesn't sound like it would work. Oh, it didn't work out. I need to see the most recent one. Wasn't there like a recent one with kids or something? Like, I remember seeing the trailer for that one, and I was like, wow, that actually looks really good. Unlike the one before it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it took place in the same universe as the original Ghostbusters movies, and I think these kids were descendants of the original Ghostbusters. And there may have even been some cameos in there. I didn't watch it, but I heard it was pretty decent.
Yeah, I haven't watched movies for a while, but I need to check. Maybe check it out.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if we ever watch movies again, maybe that'll be the one.
I've been watching Eureka, the TV show, with D, because that's actually a good show. So
yeah, you keep saying that over the years. One day I'll watch it.
You should watch it, man. It's good. Thank you and your wife.
What streaming platform is it on?
It's on Amazon Prime. So I'm watching it.
Well, that's what we've been watching is Amazon Prime.
All 5 seasons.
There you go. Anyway, I'm cautiously optimistic about this one. I'm going to take a wait and see approach to it, but this is a franchise that I love, and everyone loves a nice trip down nostalgia lane. So we'll definitely be looking forward to the release of this game when it comes later this year to Quest and PSVR 2.
Yep.
And with that, that's our headlines for the week, folks. We're moving into the week's reminders, and we're going to start it off, as we always do, by taking a look at what's out this week.
Face to face, you bay your breath. Take it off while
You will be judged by justice. All cannons fire. The way is coming. You better run.
Quantaar out this week on the 7th of June, which is 3 days from today. This game was revealed a couple years ago, Roots, and this is going to be VR's kind of first stab at a Smash Brothers type party brawler. But in addition to that, this is a game that puts a significant amount of focus on the social aspect. So not only do you have your primary game mode, which is the battling, which is done from a third person perspective, by the way, but there's all sorts of options and mini games for you to get in and enjoy with your friends. You don't have to take part in the battle. You can come in here and just kind of observe and hang out in the social spaces that they've built for people. So it's pretty cool, man. Like Smash Bros is a huge game. It's been very popular for many years, and I'm surprised it's taken this long for someone to try it in VR.
Yeah, you confused me for a second there. Third person, what do you mean? How does that work? Like, you can't do that in VR, Wes. It just doesn't work.
Right.
I think it looks cool. I think Smash Brothers is huge, and if the first one that gets it right, is going to do very well. People love Smash Brothers, and although a little inside baseball on Alex VR, he does not prefer the whole big battle 4-on-4 huge. He wants it to be 1-on-1. No weapon or no extra like special bullshit. He just wants you to go against you. And
that's because Alex VR wants to win, and he doesn't want to have to rely on someone else to blow the game for him.
That's true. He does. Very competitive.
He is very competitive. So yeah, I think this is pretty cool. But I'm going to check something before we move on from it. If you wouldn't mind just kind of seeing what's up with the chat. I want to make sure something is correct before I say it out loud.
Well, people are championing what we just talked about Eureka being amazing, and Warehouse 13, which is a spin-off show that I guess they actually had an episode that was kind of brought them together. That would be an amazing, you saw Westworld, if you could do a Eureka one, where you could go into Eureka and you got to be like Sheriff Carter and try to solve some, because there's always crazy things going on there, Wes. It's basically the premise is it's this city that all the way back to World War II or whatever, Einstein time, they decided to make this city, and that's like kind of away from society, and that's where everything's created there, like the smartest people in society ever since. Everything that's been created in our country since then has been from there. But these people are fucking with things they shouldn't be every single day, and so there's always some crazy disaster, something that they're trying to solve. And I think that would be a good VR game. find it? No.
No, I'm. Okay, well, what I'm looking for is some. There we go. That's what I'm looking for right there. Okay, so this Roots is a free-to-play game. This is not something that you have to pay to download. Anyone's going to be able to pick this up and play it with their friends on day one, which again is 3 days from now.
Yeah, that's a quest. It's going to be a quest game, right?
Quest, and I think maybe
Pico
Steam
4 and Steam. It says.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's huge. That's going to be huge. A lot of kids love this game, love Smash Brothers, and now you're going to have a version of Smash Brothers type of game that they can play for free, and it's got all these mini games, and so as long as the game is not absolute dog shit, I don't see how it doesn't do really well. You know?
Not. It's not.
Oh well, then I think it'll do well. Although it looked weird, at least that soccer mode. I thought maybe it was Rocket League for a second there. We're gonna have Rocket League with little characters, you know, because Knock wasn't enough, and Ultimex, and I still think Ultimex, especially after watching that Ultimex thing yesterday, the esport. I still stand by my Ultimex is the better version of that game. Absolutely,
Agreed.
especially
Agreed.
watching an esport type. It was cool.
Yeah, well, the Rocket League clone is the flavor of the week, so I'm not surprised that it's found its way into this title as well. But as long as we remember that that's an
extra mode,
secondary mini game mode for those people who are just getting in the game to hang out in the arena, then I think we'll be fine. Again, this game's bread and butter is the party brawling, the Smash Bros. Style high action gameplay with cartoony characters. A selection to choose from, and again, free to play. I mean, you can't beat that. It's free.
Are you gonna your family gonna play it? Get your whole family.
I would say that it's likely. It's likely that we're gonna play it because again, we can play it on our Quest. We can play it on our PC and play together. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Anyway, anything else notable coming out this week, Roots?
Nah, there's nothing out. Oh wait, there might be one more scary type of thing.
Damn you, Connex. Crown, come to me, you demon!
Undead Citadel. Roots, is Undead Citadel finally launching this week?
It's finally launching, and I'm happy it's finally launching. It looks really good. And the tech is saying what took 4 years for this one, and it's weird because we were just having this discussion last night about what makes a good game, and I was saying again, Diablo 3 came out in 2012. So that tells me that Diablo 4 probably started being made about 7 or 8 years ago. And a good game takes a long time to make. Like the games that are getting rushed out are the shallow ones, the ones that suck, the ones that take time. That you're like, fuck, man, this thing's taken 4 years. Well, yeah, and it's probably going to be amazing, hopefully, right?
Yeah, I would think so. For what it's worth, the demo that we played last year was pretty good, and that was just horde mode. Like it wasn't allowing us to run through any of the levels. And this is a fairly linear melee action game that takes you through a pretty decently sized campaign, from what I understand. And again, they've taken their sweet ass time making sure that this game is right when they launch. And I'm excited. I'm excited for Undead Citadel. I think the question still remains, did they take their time so that they could turn this into a 2023 VR game? Or is this going to be a super polished up 2017 VR game? Only time will tell, but either way, I mean, the thing looks pretty sweet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've played a lot of really, really good games that were made in 2017. As long as they're made well. As a matter of fact, when was Farpoint made? And that's like one of the best games I've played in VR. So, yeah.
Anyway, we got something big to look forward to this week. As if we need more to play, Roots, we've got another one to add to the list this, what was it, Friday?
Yeah.
8th? That's a weird
crazy
release date. But, you know, nothing with these Dark Curry has ever been typical. So I'm not shocked that they're launching a day later than normal.
Yeah. Well, if it comes out in 3 days and it's amazing, I'll be happy.
They need that extra day to polish.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Like, man, we just need one more day. We could just have one more day. We can get it all done.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do here, Roots, before we move on to Wishlist. I didn't clip pictures of the comments from the last episode.
Oh, yeah.
But I do want to read some of them. I would have clipped the comments themselves. If we weren't so late getting on, that would have set us another 30 minutes behind if I had done that. But I am going to go to the video by hand right now and just look through some of the comments and read some of them off, because again, it helps us out a lot when you guys interact, and that includes comments.
That's the last episode, right? 188, or was it 188?
It's 188. That's right. All right, so let me scroll down here to the comments section.
I got it open too, so they can see what you're seeing.
Cool. All right, Metal Game Cat Solid Fritz says, great show, Wes and Ruuts. With Eric, it would have been even better because the combination of the three of you just works. I was so happy to hear you about Grip being so awesome in VR, and so sad at the same time, as I played it to death on PS4, and it sadly doesn't have a PSVR mode. That's true. Why didn't it ever come to PSVR, Roots? That doesn't make sense.
Well, maybe it's going to come to PlayStation VR too. It definitely is an amazing. It's probably one of the best racers I've played in VR, and I wish it had native support for my wheel, because then I would play it. But
do that. Go Green Game On says, loving the VR modes for Resident Evil games. Now PlayStation needs to fund VR modes for Cyberpunk 2077, Red Dead 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake, even if vanilla execution like on RE7, or even third-person VR view. Here. I think that Sony should just go ahead and implement 3D cinema mode for all of their flat games and give people a reason to buy that headset.
no first person, no hand presence. Oh, come on, man.
Come on, man.
No, I think if they would just do that, and if they did a VR mode like they did RE7, and they let you play Red Dead Redemption as it is with a gamepad, it's the best game I've played in VR that I've played that way. That's how I've played, and I need to get that information because I'm not in the Discord to move the game over to that new engine. If you ever, I've mentioned it once, but I have to finish that game in VR. It's one of the best games I've played in VR. So
cool. Samson 143 VR and Hussein X both compliment us on a great show, as they typically do. Same thing from William Munford and Mr. Bean, James. Kennytron Omega 2, great show as usual. Eric, hope you see this one, champ, as you have a Quest Pro. Try a Ghost in the Shell reality diver in Meta TV.
Ooh.
They finally nailed the experiences. Man, you really as though you're part of the movie/game. These creators need to be discovered. They can do something special for VR. There we go. Ghost in the Shell on Meta TV. Everyone check it out.
I don't
think you'd have. I don't think you have to have a pro to watch this stuff either. You should be able to watch it on your Quest 2.
I'll mention it to Eric tomorrow if I remember, because they're supposed to come here and do the show.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Virtual Slayer Cat says, "Awesome shirt, Wes." That was when I was wearing my Slayer shirt last week. I noticed in the CruCast when you were talking about the definition of geezer, to which you said, "Also one of the best bases of all time." My man. So he ended it there, and you notice how I read that. That wasn't just any my man. That was a Denzel Washington. My man. No, I thought that went over everyone's head, Slayer Cat. But I did say that. I do remember I was talking about Geezer Butler, the bass player for the legendary Black Sabbath. Yeah, so someone caught it. So cool. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. That's what you want. At least one person that catches it. Now, Zach Wilder says, how big would the channel need to grow for you guys to feel the need to ditch the My Mom button, or will you always stick to your roots with a RUUTS? I don't know. My thing is I would assume we'll always stick to our roots. I don't know. Like, I don't want to change. No matter how big the channel gets, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, we're just us.
Agreed. And here's the thing, Roots. I mean, we've had certain times and certain weeks where we're like, maybe we should be a little cleaner. Maybe we should, not tell so many of those off-color jokes. And the people just do it for us anyway. If we don't say it, someone says it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think the Pandora's box has been opened here, and there's no putting it back in.
Yeah, you know who hates when you put it? We try to put it back in.
My mom!
It was funny. That one guy got really upset that one week because he said, "Can you clean it up, man? Clean up your language because my kids are watching." And then I didn't even say anything. The chat handed him lunch. It was actually pretty cool to see. But yeah.
Yep. Hope that guy's enjoying his carbon copied bullshit podcast that he enjoys watching.
Yeah, that's the thing. We pride ourselves in being different. So
we're going to run through the rest of these quickly. David Runs asks if I'd like to do a co-op speed run with Arizona Sunshine. Perhaps. That invitation was specifically pointed at my friend Roots here, but I'm not opposed to getting in there with other people. Although I will say, if I'm going back into Arizona Sunshine, I'm going back in on Steam. My PSVR, I've hung my PSVR 1 up.
What?
At least until October.
D's have been playing it a lot lately. Actually, you need to get it. What about getting in there with D for Farpoint co-op?
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what. Get D to stream Farpoint story mode, and if she makes it like halfway through the game, I'll run co-op with her. I don't want to spoil it. If you run co-op before you run story mode, it spoils significant thing that happens in the game.
That's very true, and I keep telling her she needs to get further in. D, you need to get further in. Although, you need to get further in.
You know who else thinks you need to get further in?
My mom!
Oh, yeah, she does. Further the better.
Simplex attempting to correct us on our reading of the Bloomberg article about the new Quest 3 controllers. But I'm pretty sure after we started talking about that you corrected me, Roots, in talking about the way that those rings are on there and or not on there anymore, and that they don't have cameras. So
yeah.
So, thanks, Simplex.
I really wish they were the pro controllers, though.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. I don't want to judge them before I use them, but
that's true.
It would be nice if we had that assurance that cameras bring.
Yep.
Robert Sullivan says you are super with Brian Paul PSVR and AJ Underground and Myers Dial Virtual Stranger and Wes PSVR 2. Love you all, Bobby. Love you too, Bobby. Thank you. Duggars K, just like to say hello for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you. Daywalker, same thing for the algorithm. Thank you. Thank you. Hawk 107, in reality, it's true. PSVR 2 seems like a waste of money. There's no big hits to play in PSVR 2, only Resident Evil Village and Gran Turismo 7 Horizon. Doesn't count all the rest are old limited PSVR games and Quest ports, so I see no big VR games coming until late 2024. I disagree. First of all, Village and Gran Turismo 7 are two of the best games of all time.
Right.
Second of all, this has been out just over 2 months. And late 2024, I mean, God, that's a pretty bleak outlook, Roots. You think it's going to be that long before we get more bangers?
Even if it is that long, which I don't think it will be, saying that all the games are limited PSVR games and Quest ports, like some of the best versions of these games I've played on the PlayStation VR 2, whether it be Zombieland or whatever. We have to remember not everybody has access to all those other games, which I do. I have them on other platforms, but they're better versions on that hardware. So I guess for people that already have them on other platforms, yeah, it's like the radio runt syndrome. You know, you just you don't have something there that you want yet. There will be, but I even if it comes at late 2024, I think the releases that the games that they have so far are good, and getting better. So,
yeah. So obviously, a lot of people feel the way that Hawk 107 feels, and it's hard to argue with them, especially if you have a Quest 2 already and have these games already. But if you don't, there's no question as to where the best place to play them is. It's on PSVR 2. But if you're not into horror games and you already have all these games on Quest, yeah, you're right. It's a difficult sell to sell a $600 headset on the back of what basically amounts to 3 big exclusives.
but the good news is the price isn't skyrocketing. You can wait a little bit until there are games, right?
That's right. And I will point out that he left Horizon, called them out and off the list for whatever reason.
Well, because there's a lot of climbing in it.
Yeah, that's true.
I haven't finished it, Wes, and I don't know that I probably won't. Maybe I will. I've thought about going in it several. Have you finished it? I've gone in it several times and thought about going in it and just haven't. So I was waiting for the patch that fixes the blur. Aren't they looking at fixing something across the board with all the reprojection stuff?
I've heard rumors from people that would know that that might be something that happens at some point in the future.
Well, see, and that always goes through my head too, and I'm like, man, because there is a little bit of reprojection that I would love to not be there. So,
you need to finish Horizon. Not only is it freaking beautiful, there is a lot of climbing. That's true. The story's pretty cool, and the combat gets much more intense, and the scenes become a lot bigger in scale as you progress toward the end, all the way to the end. It gets better and better and better and better. It's absolutely a Game of the Year contender, and anyone with the PlayStation VR 2 should own and play that game.
Old Dar says the last levels of Call of the Mountain are the best ones, so he's agreeing with you. It's well, West. This is something that would solidify it. And Sony, if you're out there, please be out there, because I really want this. Integrate streaming chat, please. Twitch, YouTube, whatever it is, because I would love to. That would give me a reason to play it, stream it for people, but very reluctant to stream PlayStation VR 2 because I just don't like not having a chat. It's very anti-intuitive for streaming. It's just horrible. And
so I don't know if it works like it worked on PSVR 1 on PSVR 2, but if it does, if you're willing to stream from your PlayStation directly and not put it through your capture card, and just stream it from the console, you can set it up so that when people comment in chat, that it pops up on the screen and it just scrolls through one comment at a time. Comment, 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 comment. Now, what you'll need to do to keep that from backing up in a queue, because that's typically what happens, is it queues up, and then within 20 minutes of you starting, you're reading comments from 5 minutes ago. What you would probably need to do is put like a slow mode on in the chat, so that people have to pick their comments wisely, and it's not just wide open all the time.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I just I tried. I can't remember what game it was I played last, PlayStation VR, and tried to do it, and it just isn't good. I think it was Resident Evil maybe or something, but people want to have interaction as it happens, not 15 minutes later. Let me get out of the headset and read through the comments from 15 minutes ago. I just think it's very short-sighted for not only Sony but Meta as well on their Quest games to not somehow integrate to where I can stream and have it streaming chat. You know, streamers do want to see their chat, Sony and Meta. Just FYI.
100% agreed. You know how many times I drop my phone when I'm playing PSVR 2 and streaming it? It's like all the time. I have to pick it up, and
it's just even just if you have the phone and you're trying to look at, it's just not the same. No, I hate it.
Anyway, let's wrap this show up. Why don't we all go and support our beloved VR game developers by wishlisting a title right now in real time. It's really easy to do. It's just a couple of clicks, and it means the world to these developers. It helps them to get the name out there, secure a better spot on the store, and it helps work their algorithm, much like we need to work ours. So we got a lot to choose from this week, Roots. Asgard's Wrath 2 is even up for pre-order, so I think I'm going to wishlist that one at the very least.
I did Bulletstorm VR because I was looking up Bulletstorm full clip, and then I thought, you know what? I'm going to look up. I do Steam version of Bulletstorm. I never heard of that game. It looks cool.
It is cool. And it's going to be great in VR. So I'm wishlisting Asgard's Wrath 2. It is available for pre-order right now. And if you buy it right now, you get Asgard's Wrath for free, Roots. So that's pretty sweet, right?
That is sweet, actually. And I meant to say this at the beginning of the show, and Aylin Kara was screaming it. Basically was saying, how come nobody's mentioning that? Which you did when you read the article, like right after he was saying that. But that is one of the things. If you pre-order this game, you get the first game for free. And I mean, talk about value. Like the game alone, 60 hours, the new one. I don't know how good it is. If it's like the first one, it's worth it. Fuck, man. You get the first game for free, and that's like 100 hours. Or I don't know what it is. It's ridiculous. And even if you don't get past the prison level, like most people, there's so much game, and it actually is a good game. So
we'll go back and play it, Roots, and we'll see if I can use Revive to play it on my G2.
Yeah, are you gonna start over?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, fuck,
of course,
man, dude.
It's been so many years.
Yeah, I understand the sentiment, but I was thinking maybe Wes was gonna finish this game. He ain't starting it over, finishing it.
No, I'll never finish it. No way. But I'll try. I'll want to.
I only know one person. I believe Spry Guy has finished this game, and that's the only person I know. So
there was a few, not many though. Most people, like you said, noped out at about the 30-hour mark. They still had about a dozen hours to go.
Well, that just shows you how good games. Well, for me, most people, Elden Ring and stuff. If you can put 200 hours in a game and it just pulls you all the way through, and you're like sad it's over. That's a really good game.
True that. And that brings us to our final reminder this weekend, every week, and that is how you can do your part to support us, our channel, and our community. Of course, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. It's just a click away, and you can be notified if you click the bell as well. 2 clicks away. 2 clicks away from notifications in your inbox, letting you know when we go live on those very rare occasions. And you never know when that's going to be, Roots. It could be Sunday afternoon, could be the middle of the night on Sunday, could be on a Wednesday, could be on a Friday. You know what, Roots? We're doing our show on Friday, which we've officially moved Strangers in the Night to Friday every week. So we will be back this Friday with a new episode. But I think I've got something kind of special lined up for midweek.
Oh, wow. How exciting. I'll have to see what that is.
That is exciting. You have no idea how exciting. So you guys, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell. You're not going to want to miss this, I promise.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you were about to say something.
Oh, no, I was just, no, I just said, yeah, I agree 100%. You don't want to miss it. I don't know what it is, but I know if Wes is saying you don't want to miss it, we don't want to miss it.
You do know what it is. We talked about it right before we went live. Remember that thing I told you about?
Oh, yeah, I do. I do know what it
Yeah.
is. Oh, wow. That
Pretty
is
cool,
exciting.
right?
That is super cool.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, if you're already subscribed and you want to do a little something extra, you can support us on Patreon. $3 per month. That's all we ask. Less than $1 per week. Get you access to our weekly show notes, insider updates, and exclusive content. And you also get peace of mind knowing that you did your part to help support us. They need to help us buy a Quest 3, Roots. That thing's going to be $700 when it's all said.
I know, that's crazy. At least it'll be pancake lenses. I'm looking forward to the most. It's becoming more and more important to me, but form factor and the lightness, not feeling like a heavy headset. I want to feel what Brad Lynch has been talking about with the big screen. And hopefully this Quest 3 is that way.
Maybe the jock strap will be good enough, Roots.
Maybe it will be. Well, this is the thing. I just watched somebody win an esport competition with the jock strap. And so I would imagine if it's light enough, the Quest 3, you won't need it. You won't need some big old boat. Although he did add, what was that one adapter that you can have that still lets you use the battery, but on any strap? He had that.
Yeah.
With a everyday jock strap.
Yeah, that's a Bobo. Bobo makes a universal battery battery slot that you can put on whatever.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyway, thank you to our patrons out there. Thank you to everyone who donates on the YouTube channel or directly to the PayPal. We appreciate you very much. Thank you to our sponsor once again, Skydance Interactive. Assuming that they pay me, which they might not after watching that ad.
They're like, yeah, dude, you shouldn't have been talking about. Well, I mean, who doesn't? Let's be honest, man. Like, come on, you get away with it. No,
it's a zombie game. Like,
That's
there's chainsaws in that game to mutilate people with,
and you keep it clean. You want to keep your hands clean, right? So
that's right. Oh, anyway, if you don't have any extra cash, we certainly understand that in the current economic climate in the world, you still get to participate just as much in the community as anyone else, and you can do so by joining us on Discord. You'll find an invitation link in the description down below. Under all the other links, you'll find the front door to our Discord server, which is where we hang out 24/7. And it's always popping off with something cool, isn't it, Roots?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It's always popping off. You know who else loves it when you're popping off all the time?
My mom!
And Drippy the Wandering Game Cat says ads are supposed to be entertaining, and I 100% agree. And I thought you nailed it. So
thank you, Drippy. That's what I told Roots. As long as one person gets it, then all the effort was worth it. We try hard to be funny on this channel. And I'm an amateur comedian, and
just moved into the pros, bro. That's it.
Yeah, for real.
Done.
I just got paid to do some comedy.
Yeah.
So yeah, as long as one person gets it, then I'm good. And it seemed like it landed with a few of you, so that's cool.
Yep.
Thank you for the feedback. Anyways, that's our show for this week. I want to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you in a few days. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.